Public school students will go to schools where half of their peers share their ethnicity. This is the case for 56% of Latinx youth. While the higher numbers of BIPOC students should be celebrated, the statistics are pointing towards a trend of segregation in schools. However, this video is going to focus on a different Latinx experience. We'll zoom in on the state of Nebraska, where over 80% of traditional public schools have a white student population of 50% or more. This is typical of a Midwestern state, since most Latinx families settle in the Southwest with some diaspora in the Northeast. Larger cities are hubs for potential employment, and those are disproportionately located in states outside of the Midwest. But let's go back to Latinx students being the minority in school. Latinx students account for 20% of Nebraska's student population. Adolescents have an almost natural instinct to form cliques or groups that shun those unlike them. For Latinx students who are the ethnic outlier in school, this social behavior seen as natural is more like a social death sentence. This places pressure on the student to assimilate, and much of it is tied to their knowledge of the Spanish language if they do speak it. One study explained, quote, "Many hide their accented speech, style, and code switch to align with mainstream varieties of English or simply remain silent to avoid any attention based on their language use," end quote. The harsh reality is that 4 in 10 Latinx people experience discrimination, unfair treatment, criticism, name-calling, or have been told to go back to their own home country because of their ethnicity. Individuality is only encouraged when it aligns with the dominant culture, and there are repercussions for standing out. Honors and AP classes are offered at schools with more funding for better teachers and curriculum, and those tend to be white districts. This comes from a history of redlining connected to racist, white-affirming housing loan policies that are one source of today's white privilege. Latinx people will move into white neighborhoods the more they become assimilated, creating situations where Latinx children stand out once classes start. This can lead to bullying, teasing, or discrimination from one's peers. Latinx students are more likely to be funneled into regular classes over honors and AP courses, since teachers are more likely to perceive them as underachievers, similar to Black students. For those that do gain access to these benefits, they'll see that the students and teachers in classes will mostly be white with a Eurocentric curriculum. Some will even hold biases or prejudice against Latinx students, contributing to a missing sense of belonging that can have significant negative impacts on their academic performance and psyche. Teachers and students might try to help their Latinx peers assimilate, and when they refuse to do so, they are ostracized and sometimes punished by the dominant group. But Latinx students are undergoing a transformational resistance by engaging academically and using their feelings and experiences to propel themselves forward and fight against the stereotypes held against them. But they cannot crush an unjust system born out of systemic racism on their own. Latinx students should know that their experiences do not exist in a vacuum. They are part of a larger trend in a colorblind educational system. This is where other students of color and white students can come in to help. Anybody has the ability to bring up conversations regarding a race, whether they be white, Latinx, or any other ethnicity. But people do not want to start those conversations. The topic is pushed aside, but life is not meant to cater to anyone's comfort. It is about pushing past one's discomfort to improve themselves, others, and the world around them. If you are wondering where I pulled the information for this video from, then here are the sources I used so you can inform yourself and come to your own conclusions about what steps to take.